discussing the concept of Yisuri Haguf, the concept of physical suffering, and how although HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes ahead and gives us his hashgacha, right, conveys to us divine providence, and conveys to us ultimately again multiple messages through the events that occur to us in life. So none of those messages get through to us as clearly as when our own physical health is impacted. Growing Khan, we see from here, so we see from here that physical difficulty, physical suffering, illness is the most difficult thing for an individual. Most difficult thing, again, remember the raya, the proof that he brought yesterday from Yov. And the truth is, this is something that doesn't even really require too much explanation. Kulam Yodim, I will say page Kuf Nun Aleph, 4 lines down from the top. Kulam Yodim, everyone knows, Sheverega Sha'adam Chola, when a person is sick, Azai, Eino Margish Shum Tam L'chayev. If a person wants to get sick, enough, they begin to feel that there's absolutely no purpose in their life. Why do I need to live if this is what life is going to be like? Even if a person is wealthy, he has plenty of gold, plenty of silver. Again, if he's sick, none of it matters to him. Sometimes again, his feelings of difficulty are exacerbated or amplified when a person realizes he has so much wealth, so many riches, but yet he can't enjoy them because he doesn't have his health. Sometimes again, seeing what he has and his inability to enjoy it actually makes him feel worse. Im yeshlo yisuri hanefesh, sha'az gam im matzavo hagonfgani mu'ula, hu margish shatuv moso mechayin. This is a very important point. We're not just talking about physical health. Sometimes if a person doesn't have mental health, right? So then sometimes again, that lack of health, that lack of mental health is even worse than a physical ailment. Because the person looks at himself and he sees, physically I'm okay. Materially, I may have all of these brachos, and yet for some reason I can't be happy. For some reason I can't find simcha. For some reason I just have an inability to enjoy all of it. He goes on, he says, sometimes a person chas v'shalom could feel that death would be welcome. That death would be better than life. Therefore, again, you hear people commonly saying, ha'ikar habrios. Right, the most important thing in life is you have your health. Now, the truth is, most of us, when we hear this, if you're not someone who has contended with serious illness, we kind of dismiss that, actually, making a little bit more money would be a lot better than having my health, right? Or having this would be, I got it, I have my health, actually I have my health. It was on a serious note to speak to a person who has contended with serious illness. And the truth is, it's the MS. It's the MS because in that moment when a person is struggling with their health, you could have all the money in the world, and yet you can't enjoy 1 cent of it if you don't have your brios. You speak to a person who struggles with mental health, and in that moment when they are shrouded by that veil of depression, and they have objectively every single bracha known to man, they can't enjoy it. It's the ikar habrios. Yes, it's true that the most important thing in life is your health. Memela, move on. Shematzav brius shel adam mishamesh es abori kigorim. Shemaor es adam yosem mikol davar achar. Therefore, it turns out, shematzav briuso shel adam, that ultimately, again, my health situation, my health state, mishamesh es abori kigorim, shemaor es adam yosem mikol davar achar. Now, both sides, that we understand that the most important thing in life is our health. The most important thing in a person's life is their physical and emotional, mental well-being. When something goes a bit awry in that is the way ultimately, again, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu dispatches a message to me. That is the ultimately, again, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu conveys to me some type of understanding, some type of idea, ultimately, again, through this thing that is most important to me. He goes on, Sivan Osefes. We'll just do one more piece, and this is actually quite amazing. Sivan Osefes, another reason why ultimately, again, sometimes the messages that HaKadosh Baruch Hu conveys to us through our health are the most received messages. He says, Gufa Adam v'nafsho morkavim meremach evarim ushesagidim. So most of this is actually quite amazing. We know that the body of man is made up of 248 evarim, organs, right? Ushesagidim, 365 sinews. Shem keneged kol haTorah kula. We'll say ultimately again, so we know that somehow the parts of the body correspond to the parts of the Torah. Just like there are 248, right? There are 248 assays, 365 los assays, there are 248 organs, 365 sinews, however those line up physiologically. But the idea that the mitzvos in the Torah correspond to the parts of the body. Shem keneged kol haTorah kula. Kol gid mishisa gidim, keneged echa mishisa mitzvos los asay. We'll say, what does it mean when Chazal say that there are 248 positive mitzvos corresponding to 248 organs in the body? Or there are 365 prohibitions which correspond ultimately again to 365 sinews. What does that mean? Because what that means is every mitzvah corresponds to one part of my body. That every part of my body, of my physical being, is linked to a particular mitzvah. Therefore, get ready for this. Kasher adam pogim be'ez mitzvah. When I am derelict in a particular mitzvah, who pogim ba'ose eiver obegid. When I am not vigilant in a particular mitzvah, that impacts the corresponding part of my body. Right, that impacts again. So if I'm, for argument's sake, if I'm not vigilant in a particular assay, that's going to impact one of the 248 organs. Well, it doesn't mean that a person chas v'shalom suffers catastrophic, organ failure if I don't put on tefillin one morning. Of course, that's not the way it works. But the idea is that there is this link, there is this almost like synergistic partnership between my body and my mitzvos. My mitzvos fuel my body. And again, in contrast, if I'm not vigilant in the performance of my mitzvos, that has a physical effect. Could that physical effect be felt? Could the physical effect be measured? Maybe yes, maybe no. But at the end of the day, ultimately it exists. He goes on, he says, Kasher adam pogim be'ez mitzvah, hu pogim ba'ose eiver ubegid, shu kineged osa mitzvah. V'kach haborein meramis la'adam b'diuk b'mahu pagam, this is amazing. Sometimes the if I'm struggling in a particular area, if I'm struggling again with a particular mitzvah, so the Ribono Shel Olam could convey that message to me, could give me that feedback, again, through impacting that particular part of my body. That if I know again that mitzvah A corresponds to body part A, so therefore, difficulty in body part A is a wake-up call from HaKadosh Baruch Hu that I am struggling or I need to improve in that particular mitzvah. Ki lefi ha'ever shenifka, o lefi sug ha'choli, yachal ha'adam lada'as b'ma pagam, b'shvil lahadrich oso, u'lachavin oso al yido ve'el tikuno. So what does this mean? What does it mean? That I break my finger and therefore I'm going to be able to tell, I wasn't careful enough with kissing the mezuzah. Wait, how exactly does this? We'll say the answer is you're not going to figure this out. And some things maybe I can figure out. The idea is it's a wake-up call. The idea is that when something is physically awry, when something is physically wrong, so what I go ahead and I say to myself is, well, the parts of my body ultimately correspond. The parts of my body correspond to the mitzvos in the Torah. And therefore, again, if there's something going on in my body, maybe I just have to ask myself, where am I holding in my shmiras ha-mitzvos? And if I look at the areas in which I am weak, do those weaknesses somehow correspond to the illnesses I have encountered or not? That's now, again, I will say, I want to be clear. Doesn't mean that every single time a person suffers from illness, it's because they're deficient in a mitzvah. Chas v'shalom, no. Many times people are stricken with illness for a variety of different reasons, for cheshbonos HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we cannot understand. What we're trying to figure out is, the premise, I always say of these things is, I don't understand why God does what he does. That being said, I need to try to figure out something. So I need to live my life with the recognition that everything that happens to me is a wake-up call from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's my job to try to figure out, to intuit, what is the wake-up call? What is the wake-up call? What does it mean? And so again, the Mechaber is just saying, mitzvos correspond to the parts of the body. If there's some part of the body that's not working well, that's not doing what it should be, then I just have to, first step in my own cheshbon nefesh, in my own introspection is there something happening in my mitzvos? Is there something happening in my religion? Have I experienced some type of breakdown in my shmiras or kiyum hamitzvos that would be manifesting itself in the breakdown of the body? Again, does it mean that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has stricken me with illness because I was not careful? Because I was not careful with a particular mitzvah? Chas v'shalom. No one can say that with absolute certainty. But also the inability to determine a definitive reason for a particular event does not absolve me from the responsibility to try to find some meaning in it. All right, so we'll stop over here for today. We'll pick up with an incredible message from the Baal Shem Tov, the Meretz Hashem, first thing tomorrow morning.
He took the mask and was not in a good spot. And this is not like no breast. What's the other one?
All right, we'll say good morning. Let's begin. Today's daf is Kuf 100. And we are picking up on Tzadik Testament base at 99b. And we are picking up 2, 4, 6, 8 lines up from the bottom. Last word on the line, V'ika. We'll say our shir this morning is dedicated. Actually, the shirim this month are dedicated by Yonah and Shishi Ernfeld in commemoration of the upcoming yard site of Yonah's grandfather of Gedalia ben Yaakov HaKohen. We hope that on the merit of our Talmud Torah is the Shalom Haman Aliyah and the family in Nechama. All right, so let's begin. So we're trying to figure out, we left off yesterday with trying to understand some definitions in Megala Panav Torah and Apikoros, just defining our terms. So the Gemara says, V'ika demas nila seifa. Others explain, others interpret this based on the seifa. Megala Panav Torah. What does it mean if somebody's Megala Panav Torah? Rav Rabbi Chanina Amri, Zeh Mavaza Talmud Chacham. So Megala Panav Torah refers to someone, ultimately again, who embarrasses a Talmud Chacham, degrades a Talmud Chacham. If Yochanan Rabbi Shimon Levi Amr Zeh Mavaza Chavera B'fnei Talmud Chacham. If Yochanan Rabbi Shimon Levi says, Megala Panav Torah means someone who embarrasses his friend in front of a Talmud Chacham. Bishlam L'man Damar Mavaza Talmud Chacham Atzma Megala Panav Torah Havi Mavaza Chavera. Excuse me, Bishlam L'man Damar Mavaza Talmud Chacham Atzma Megala Panav Torah. So both I understand, according to the opinion who says that somebody who degrades the Talmud Chacham himself, that's called Megala Panav Torah. Then Mevaza Chaver B'fnei Talmud Chacham Havi Apikoris, and someone who embarrasses his friend in front of a Talmud Chacham is called an Apikoris. Elaman Damar Mevaza Chaver B'fnei Talmud Chacham Megala Panav Torah Havi. But if you hold that embarrassing your friend in front of a Talmud Chacham is the definition of Megala Panav Torah, then Apikoris Kigon Man. Then what is an Apikoris? Rav Yosef Kigon Hani Da Amri Mai Ahanu Len Lan Rabbanon. So we'll say, what would be an apikoris? An apikoris would be someone who walks around saying, what good are the rabbis? What good are the rabbis? Lidido karu, lidido tanu. All they're doing is they're learning for themselves, they're teaching for themselves, they're self-serving, they do nothing for us. That's an apikoris. People who think that the rabbanim are self-serving, that's epikarisos. Amalei Abaye, Hai Megala B'Torah, Namihu. So we'll say, ultimately again, Abaye says, this is also Megala Panav Torah. In other words, a person who thinks that Talmidei Chachamim, that's Rabbanim through their Torah, do not contribute anything to greater society, that's also Megala Panav Torah. Tichsiv, Imlo Brisi Yomam V'Layla, Chukos Shamayim V'Aretz Lo Samti. What that pasuk is teaching me is, were it not for the Torah that is learned by the Rabbanon, ultimately, again, the earth would not exist. In other words, the Rabbanon are Nahana, they benefit the entire world through their learning. Amrav Nachar Yitzchak, Mihachanam Yishma Mino Shneimar, V'Nasasi L'Chalamakom Ba'avuram. Ella, Kigon the Yosef Kamei Rabbi. So I'll say, so what would be a Megala Panim B'Torah? Kigon the Yosef Kamei Rabbi, like somebody who's sitting in front of his Rebbe, learning in Shir. And in the Shir, the Rebbe mentions something that they learned elsewhere. V'amar, and the Talmud says, Hachi Amrinan Hasam. Oh, we said that earlier. We said that before. V'lo Amar Hachi Amar Mar. As opposed to the Talmud attributing the teaching to his Rebbe, he says this is what we learned earlier. So the Gemara says, Rava Amar Rava says, Kigon Hani Debei Binyamin. Kigon Hani Debei Binyamin Asya. The Amri My Hanilan Rabana. So we'll say, what's the Megala Panim B'Torah? Like those in Beit Binyamin Asya, like those of the house of Binyamin the doctor, who went ahead and said to Amri, Maya Hanali Rabbanan. What good do the rabbis do? Right? What good are the rabbis? You see again the ongoing idea of Megala Panim B'Torah are those who disparage the worth of Talmidei Chachamim. So what happens? Why are the rabbis worthless? Top of Kuf, Me'olam lo sharulan orva. They never permitted for us a raven, although asrulan yona. Nor did they ever prohibit a dove. And what does that mean? That what they used to say in the yeshiva, in the home of Binyamin Asya, Binyamin the doctor, is what good do the rabbis do? The rabbis never really innovate in any way. Meaning they don't teach us anything that we could not have known on our own. It's not like they ever permitted us to eat a raven, or they ever said that a yon of the dove is usher. Amazing how that lines up with the last week's parasha. To which the Gemara says, based on this Rava, ki hava maisi trifta, the baby Yaman kamei. So therefore, I will say Rava, whenever again there would be a treif, an animal with it that was potential treifa, that would come from the house of Binyamin, ki hava ba chazi beitayim lehatera, amar luch techazu dika sharina luchu arva. Whenever again Rava would see the animal, and there would be a reason ultimately again to permit the animal, even though again others would answer the animal. So Rava would say, you see, I've just permitted for you a raven. In other words, I've taken something that could have easily been deemed asr, and yet what? I made it mutter. When he would go ahead and see some reason to asr it, and as I will say, when something looked mutter, but ultimately again he would have to say that it's asr. You see that I prohibited to you the yona. Okay. Papa Amar Papa says, what's another example of Megala Panim B'Torah, another definition of Megala Panim B'Torah? Kigon to Amar Hani Rabbanan. We'll say it's like people who say those rabbis, right? So we'll say you see the idea that, and again, this is hard because we live in an age where it's very en vogue to go ahead and kind of take pot shots at authority in general, meaning pretty much no authority today is really respected, and more than that, it's almost like there's a concerted effort to undermine authority. And okay, it might have started with political authority, but it certainly trickled in to religious authority. Sometimes that diminished respect for authority is deserved because of mistakes of people in high places. But at the end of the day, without respect, at least for us, without respect for Chazal, then ultimately, again, it undermines our entire system. So if someone goes in and says, Hani Rabbanon, those rabbis, like in a dismissive fashion. So we'll say, listen to this. Rapapa Ishtali. Rapapa one time was involved in a heated discussion, and he forgot himself. And in that moment when he forgot himself, Va'amar Kigon Hani Rabbanon, he made that statement referring to Chazal, those rabbis, and what happened? Ve'isiv Batanisa. He fasted. He undertook a tinus for himself because he felt that he had been disrespectful to the honor, to the kavod of Chazal. Incredible. Levi bar Shmuel bar Rafun bar Chia havu kamitini matpechos sifrei debei Rabbi Yehuda. So we'll say Levi bar Shmuel and Rafun bar Chia were one time fixing the mantlach. The mitpachos sifrei. Remember again, they used to have scrolls. So they were one time, I don't know, maybe it was at the Yom Run, right? They were changing back the mantlach, whatever they were doing, and Rabbi Yehuda was there. Kimata Megillas Esther, when they came to the scroll of Megillas Esther, Amri HaMegillas Esther Lo Bay Mitpachos. They said, meaning this was Levi and Rafuna, said, oh, Megillas Esther doesn't have so much Kedusha, and therefore it does not require a cover. Amr Lahu, Ki I Gavna Nami Nixi Kapikorsa. Rabbi Yehuda says, now Rabbi Yehuda who was there, and Rabbi Yehuda, remember again, was Rosh Yeshiva. Right? So they're saying this, they're essentially making this declarative statement in front of Rabbi Yehuda, as opposed to what? As opposed to asking the question. So Rabbi Yehuda says, it appears to me this will also be a form of apikorsis, meaning being so arrogant that you make decisions in the presence of your without first consulting without first consulting your Rebbe is also a form of apikarsis. Rav Nachman says, Zah Kori Rabbo Bishmo. We'll say, what's apikarsis or Megala Panabatora? Someone who calls his Rebbe by his first name. The Amr Rabbi Yochanan, Mipnei Man Ne'anash Gechazi. Why was Gechazi punished? Mipnei Shakara the Rabbo Bishmo. Because he called Ilyo, Shenemar, Vayomer Gechazi, Adoni HaMelech, Zosa Isha, V'zebina, Asher Hechia Elisha. Gechazi referred to Elisha by his first name, and therefore, ultimately, he is punished. Yosef Rabbi Yirmiyah Kamed Rabbi Zera, V'Yosef V'Kamar. So Rabbi Yirmiyah was sitting before Rabbi Zera, and he said the following: Astai Kadosh Baruch Hu lahotzi nachal beis Kodesh HaKadoshim. This is actually quite a beautiful Gemara. In the future, the Ribbono Shel Olam is going to cause a stream to come out from the Holy of Holies, from the Kodesh HaKadoshim, Beis HaMikdash. V'alav, and by the sides of that stream, Kol Minei Megadim. All types of beautiful things, delicious things, delicacies will be growing. Now again, it's referring to different types of fruits. Rashi says, Kol minei peros metukim. All types of sweet and delicious fruit will grow on the banks of that stream which comes out from the Holy of Holies. Shnei Amar, va'al hanachal ya'ala al svaso mizeh u'mizeh, kol eitz nachol, lo yibol aleyu, v'lo yitam periola chadashav yivkar, ki meimav min hamikdash hema yotzim, va'ya periola ma'achol, va'aleyu l'tshuva. So we're going to define this pasuk. Armeu Saba. So let's listen to this. So Rabbi Yirmiyah is sitting before Rabbi Zera, and Rabbi Yirmiyah is darshaning this. So what happens? There was an old man in the audience, and the old man said, Yasher, shkoyach. He gave him a shkoyach. So the old man gave him a shkoyach. V'chin Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Yasher, ve'Amar le Rabbi Yirmiyah le Rabbi Zera, ki I gavne mechse apikarsa. So Rabbi Yirmiyah said, since Rabbi Yirmiyah is wondering, is this apikarsus? I was supposed to say, if a great person is saying something and someone of lower stature says, "Wow, good job, shkoyach," right? So meaning, is that considered to be a demeaning statement? Now, obviously, the person is not actively trying to demean, but it's almost like a person of a lower stature does not need to give his seal of approval on the words of a person of a higher stature. So I mean, a person wants to say, thank you for that. But Yasha means like, shkoyach, you did a good job. So Rabbi Yirmiyah was asking, is that considered to be a form of disrespect? Amarle. So ultimately, again, Rabbi Zera said, no. Hi, sir, kamasayale. No, it's not a form of disrespect at all. He's both that shkoyach is a way of bolstering and solidifying and reinforcing what you're saying. Eli ishmi'lecha ashmi'lecha. Rather, again, if you have a question about something, about whether or not a particular response is appropriate, here's the question you have. Kiyad Yasser Rabbi Yochanan, B'Kadash, was to listen to this, my son. Rabbi Yochanan one time was darshaning. And what happened? What did he darshan? I was to listen to this. Asir HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'havi avanim tavos amar shein shloshim al shloshim amos. The boss when Mashiach comes, and the Beis HaMikdash is going to be rebuilt, Yerushalayim is rebuilt, the Baruch Hu is going to bring large precious stones that are 30 amos by 30 amos. Let's say it's big, 45 feet by 45 feet. V'chokik b'hem eser berum esrim. And Moshe is going to hollow out in those stones entranceways that are 10 by 20. Uma'amidan b'shar Yerushalayim, and those will become the gates, the entryways into Yerushalayim. So we'll say the entryways of Yerushalayim Messianic era will be hollowed out from precious stones. Shnei Amar v'samti. Quoting over here, the Gemara quotes from Yeshaya, "V'samti kat kor shimso sayich u'sharayich la'avnei ektach v'chol gvulech la'avnei chayfetz." Likleik alav also talmud. So there was someone sitting in the shir who made fun of this. So likleik, you know what that lashon of likleik is? Likleik is like that sarcastic, cynical moment, right? Like that disparaging, cynical moment where you think you know better than what Rabbi Yochanan is saying. So Ligleg Alav also Talmud. Amar, what does he say? Im hashta kebe asa ditzutz lo mashkechinon kulehai mashkechinon. If right now, Bosai, you can't even find, so Talmud says, right now you can't even find a precious stone the size of a small egg. Kebe asa ditzutz means the egg of a small bird, of katan. So if you can't even find a precious stone the size of an egg from a small bird, so what's going to happen? You're going to be able to find these 30 by 30 amma stones. That's ridiculous. Watch this. One day this Talmud was traveling by boat. Sees the malachim chiseling out large stones. Now, this is happening on the open sea. Maybe they're getting it from the seabed, whatever it is, but he sees the Malachim ultimately going ahead and chiseling out these stones, large stones. Amar lahu hani laman. So he asked the Malachim, who are these stones for? Amri, us, Moshe, we're on Kuf Amud Aleph, second wide line, of the widest lines. Amri, Asra HaKadosh Baruch Hu Lahame B'Shar Yushalayim. So the Malachim said, these are the stones that HaKadosh Baruch Hu ultimately is going to put up at the entranceway into Yerushalayim. So we'll see what happens. He comes back to Shir. Ki other Ashkechei Rabbi Yochanan V'Yaseh V'Kadarish. Again, he went ahead. He comes back to Shir the next day. Rabbi Yochanan is giving the Shir. Amarli Rebbe Drosh Ulachana LeDrosh. Rebbe, you're a good Maggid Shir, right? You should darshan. You should. I think you have a future in teaching, right? You should continue to teach. You're doing a great job. Kishem Sha'amarta Kach Ra'isi. Because just like you said in the Shir about the Malachim, right? Large stones. I saw it with my own eyes. Let's get ready for this response. Amar lo Reika. So Rabbi Yochanan says, you empty one. Im lo ra'isa lo ha'amanta. And if you wouldn't have seen it, you wouldn't believe it. Melagleg al divrei chachamim ata. You are someone who disparages the words of sages. Yo'ev va'inei ve'aso gal shalat samos. Literally, he set his eyes upon him, and he turned into a pile of bones. So we'll remember again, we had a number of Gemaras like this, of people turning into piles of bones. We saw the Maharal, the Maharsha. Whether it's literal that he died, or whether it's just that he forgot his Torah learning, or whether it's just that he was pushed out. We'll say the message over here, and again, the Ben Yoyada as a whole piece also, what exactly did he see on the open seas? The details we're not going to get into right now, but the idea is saying that if a person wants to go ahead and accomplish things in Torah, then a person has to have Amunas Chazal. And Amunas Chazal means I believe in what Chazal tell me, even if I don't always understand it, or even if at times I don't rationally agree with it. But I go ahead and I put my faith in Chazal because the Ribono Shel Olam has put his faith in Chazal. And I believe it even if I can't see it. And I believe it even if I can't understand it. And I believe it even if it offends my contemporary sensitivities. I believe it. Because ultimately, again, I will say, that is the foundation stone of our Yiddishkeit. It's the foundation stone of our religion. So Rabbi Yochanan says, I'm very happy that you believe it now that you see it, now that you saw it. That's great, but that's not Amunah. That's not Yiddishkeit. That can't be growth in Torah. Incredible Maaseh. The Gemara goes back to Meisvei. The Pasuk says, I will take you upright to Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Meir Omer Masayim Ama Kishtei Amos Sha'adam. Abrusham will say. So Gemara talking about over here in the Messianic era. In the Messianic era, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take us upright to Eretz Yisrael. So the Gemara understands where does it mean HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take us upright? And the Gemara says in the Messianic era, we're going to have even a taller stature. What's the taller stature? Masayim Amma. Every person is going to be 200 Amos tall. Kishtei Amos Sha'adam Arishon. Like two Adam Rishon was 100 amos tall, twice that Adam Rishon. So most remember we saw this Gemara earlier. So this idea of height, of extended height in Moshe Mashiach, doesn't represent as much physical height, although the Gemara is going to ask as if it does. It represents spiritual height. The idea is that in the Messianic era, we are going to be endowed with additional spirituality that's going to double our height. Twice the height of Adam Rishon. Yehuda Omer, Kuf Amma Keneged Heicha V'Kosa. Yehuda says, no, we're not going to be 200 amos tall, 100 amos tall. Shnei Amar, Asher Baninu Kenetim, Nigot Migudal Benu Orehem, Benosinu Kazavios, Michutavos Tavnes Heichel. So we'll say this is a kasha. Because what did we just say before? Rabbi Yochanan just said before that what? That when Mashiach comes, the Ribono Shel Olam is going to hollow out precious stones to make entranceways for Yerushalayim. And what's going to be the size of the entranceway? It's going to be 10 by 15. So obviously, again, if we're 200 amos tall, we're not going to fit through. To which the Gemara says, Ki kam Rabbi Yochanan lechavi debe zeka. We'll say Rabbi Yochanan's dimensions, we're talking about the windows. The windows in the gates. The windows in the gates will be 15 by 20. But ultimately, again, the entranceway themselves will be much larger. Okay. My va'alil l'trufa. So we'll say beforehand, the Gemara quoted the pasuk from Yecheskel that spoke about that stream that will come out of the Kodesh Kadoshim, that stream that will come out of the Holy of Holies. That's why beautiful fruit trees growing on its side, when Mashiach, on the banks, when Mashiach comes, and it says its leaves, alim l'trufa, literally, which means its leaves will heal. What does that mean? So the Gemara says, Mai va'alil l'trufa, Rav Yitzchak bar Rav Dumi v'Rav Chisda, chadamar lahatir peshal mala. So we'll say one said that its leaves will literally heal the upper mouth. That if somebody is mute, if someone is unable to talk, if he eats the leaves, ultimately, again, they will give him speech. V'chadamar lahatir peh shamata. We'll say others say it'll help, or it'll heal the lower mouth. We'll say the lower mouth is a reference to the womb of a woman. That if a woman is barren, if she is unable to have children, ultimately again these leaves will help her with fertility. Itmar Chizkiya Amar lahatir peh ilmin. So Chizkiya said that leaves will help to cure the mute. Bar Kafra Amar lahatir peh karos. And Bar Kafra says it will help to heal infertility. Rabbi Yochanan Amar l'tshuva mamish. Rabbi Yochanan says, no, it's mamish for trufa. What does that mean? My l'tshufa. Rabbi Shlomo Bar Nachmani Amar l'toar panim shal ba'alei peh. Rabbi said these leaves will increase or enhance the countenance of ba'alei peh. In this case, it's an acrostic, right? The idea over here is l'toar panim shal ba'alei peh. That when you eat these leaves, it will increase the shining countenance of the ba'alei peh. Rabbi say, who are the ba'alei peh? That's not the people who talk a lot, right? The ba'alei peh refers to Talmidei Chachamim. They're the masters of the mouth because they've mastered their mouth because they use their koach hadib or they use their speech ultimately for Torah. Rabbi Simon, excuse me. So Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Simon dash in the following: Kol hamashchir panav al divrei Torah ba'olam hazeh. Whoever blackens his face for Torah in this world. We'll say, good morning, Mr. Schoenfeld. Right? What does it mean blackening your face for Torah in this world? The idea is that a person puts his physical needs secondary while making his Torah needs, his spiritual needs primary. So the idea of a blackened face means a person who does not place primacy on his physical comfort or his physical needs. So what happens if a person does this? HaKadosh Baruch Hu mafik ziviyah v'olam haba. The Ribono Shel Olam goes ahead and enhances his countenance in the world to come. So the Gemara says, Shnei Amar, as the pasuk says, Mar'eyu kilavanon bachar ka'arazim. Amar Avtan Ran Chanilai. Kalamariv atzmal divrei Torah. It will say ultimately again, anyone. It literally means anyone who starves himself for Torah. It will say what it means is anyone who makes himself starving for Torah, which means he learns all of the time. I'm starving for Torah. All I want to do is learn all the time. So the Gemara says, "Ba'olam hazeh," in this world, HaKadosh Baruch Hu masbiya li olam haba. We'll say, which means something very beautiful. If I have an insatiable thirst, an unquenchable thirst for Torah, an insatiable hunger for Torah in this world, so which means that I'll never be sated in olam hazeh. The Ribono Shel Olam allows me to be sated ultimately again in olam haba. Very beautiful thought. Shnei Amar, Yirviyun mideshin v'secha v'nachal adanachal sashkim. Gelsar Avdimi Amar. Also, listen to this. In Olam Haba, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give every single tzaddik milo omso. Now, both say milo omso literally means, Rashi says, milo chofnav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu tova. The Rebbe Shalom is going to take his handful of good, and he's going to give that handful of good over to the tzaddik. So the Gemara says, Shnei Amar, Baruch Hashem Yom Yom Ya'amos Lanu Hakel Yeshua Seinu Sela. Amarle Abai B'Halo F B'Halo F V'Chi F Shalom. Okay, so I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. How could the Rebbe Shalom give his handful over to a person? Now in this case it's Olam Haba. It's going to be Mashiach, or it's Olam Haba. Could be a neshama, or it could be a Moshe Mashiach. With this, but the idea over here is, how could HaKadosh Baruch Hu give his handful, God's handful, which presumably is quite large, and how could that be received ultimately by man? So the listen to this. So he says back to Abaye, you really need to become more proficient in Haggadah. Right? You're spending too much time in halacha. You have to become more proficient in Haggadah. Because they said in Eretz Mishmei the name of Rava Bar Mari, Asir HaKadosh Baruch Hu Litein L'chol Tzadik V'Tzadik Gimel Meos V'Asara Olamos. The Rebbe Shalom in the future will say is going to give Tzadik 310 worlds. As we'll say, all of this is a reference to the incredible amount of schar, incredible amount of reward that awaits the tzaddikim both in Olam Haba as well as in Yimos HaMashiach. Shnei Amar lahanchil oave yesh va'otzroseim amalei. Yesh begematria tlos me'ah ve'asara havi. So we'll say the idea HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give the tzaddikim yesh, and yesh in gematria is 310. Tanya, Rameir says, "V'midah sha'adam modedin lo." We saw this concept in Maseches Sota. Rameir says, in the way in which a person conducts himself, so ultimately, again, that's how the Rebbe Shalom conducts himself with him. In other words, there's this concept of divine reciprocity. The way I behave, This is the famous Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov says on the pasuk, Hashem Tzilcha. So we normally translate Hashem Tzilcha as Hashem is your shade. Baal Shem Tov says no, it means Hashem is your shadow. And the idea is just like my shadow does whatever I do, so too the world is based on a concept or a system of divine reciprocity. What I put in is what I get out. The way I conduct myself is the HaKadosh Baruch Hu ultimately again gives me back. So the Gemara says, Dechsiv, as the pasuk says, B'sa'ah, quoting over here from Yeshaya, B'sa'ah b'shalcha terivena haga berucha akasha b'yom kadim. So Amar Yeshua, V'chi Shalom again, V'chi Shalom again, Adam no sin, Malay Solo Ani ba'olam hazeh. So let's play this out. How could you have that divine reciprocity? Let's give an example. A person gives a handful of money to an ani in this world. He gives a handful of money for tzedakah to a pauper in this world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu no sin mala'om soli olam haba. So then you're going to tell me that God gives him a handful of schar in olam haba. How could that be? V'haksiv shemayim b'zaras tikon. The Rebbe Shalom's hand is exceptionally large. So ultimately, at the end of the day, how could it be? If I give a handful of tzedakah to the ani, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives me a handful of bracha back, but the Rebbe Shalom's handful is obviously too big for me to contain. So we'll also listen to how beautiful this is. So the Gemara says, So we'll say, let's analyze this for just a moment. Which attribute of God is greater? Thank you. So the Gemara says, Midas Tova Meruba or Midas Paranos. In other words, we'll say, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives out schar, Midas Tova, and he gives out punishment, Midas Paranos. Which one does God give out in greater amount? Amud Beis, Havi Omer Midas Tova. They'll say, we know that Midas Tova is Meruba Midas Paranos. So we know that Midas Tova, God's attribute of good, meaning Brachos HaKadosh Baruch Hu, come in much greater voluminous amount than Paranos, than punishment. The Gemara says, I'm sorry. Have you Midas Tova, Meruba Midas Paranos, but Midas Tova, when it comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu giving out bracha Midas Tova, so pasuk says, "Vayitzav shechakim imal v'dalsei shamayim pasach." So we'll say the Moshe commands from above. He opens up the doors of shamayim. Vayamter aleim man lechol utigan ashray nasan lama. So we'll say, amazingly enough, when it comes to showering down bracha, the lashon of the pasuk is the Moshe opens up the doors and showers down the bracha. Interestingly enough, u'b'midas pranos omer. Va'arubos hashamayim niftechu. Right? B'midas parnos ksiv v'yatzu v'ra'o b'pigrian. So when it comes to midas parnos, what does it say? Va'arubos hashamayim. Arubos means what? The windows. So interesting. When it comes to showering down bracha, the Rosh opens up the doors. When it comes to showering down paranos, unfortunately, the Rosh opens up the windows. What gets right? So again, the idea is obviously you get a lot more out of a door than you can out of a window. So from here you see that the Midas Tov is Meruba Midas Paranos. Furthermore, the Gemara says, Midas Paranos Ksiv, Vayitzu, pasuk over here, Vayishaya, V'yatzu, V'ra'o b'pigre ha'anoshim haposhim, ki tolasam lo samos, V'isham lo sichbe, V'ha'al v'ra'o nochol basar. And it says, V'ha'lo adam moshit etzba'o ba'or ba'olam hazeh, miyad nichva. Yet we know that ultimately, again, if a person extends his hand, extends his finger in fire, he's immediately burnt. So we'll say the idea over here is that when it comes to punishment, the Navi Yeshai discusses this idea that the bodies are going to be placed in the fire. They won't burn, they'll just continuously suffer. A reference ultimately again to the punishment for Rishon. So the Gemara says, I don't understand. In this world, if a person just extends their finger into the fire, the finger is automatically burnt. Yet the pasuk says that ultimately the Rishon will be burnt, yet their bodies won't get burnt. They continue to experience the pain. Rather, what do you see? Rather, what you see is just as HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the Rishon the koach to be able to accept their punishment. So we'll say, you see something amazing. Just as HaKadosh Baruch Hu increases the threshold so as to allow the Rishon to receive their punishment in even greater measure, the Rebbe Shalom gives us an enhanced threshold to be able to receive our brachos in greater measure as well. And therefore, again, when the pasuk discusses the idea that if I give a handful in this world, so to speak, the Rebbe Shalom gives me a handful in the world to come, even though the Ron Shalom's handful is much larger than my handful, part of the miracle of, or part of the schar that I get is somehow the ability to receive and retain the bracha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even though, again, that bracha comes in greater measure than I really have the ability or capacity to receive and retain. Rabbi Kiva Omer, so we're back to the Mishnah now. So remember again, the Mishnah speaking about the people who do not have a chilik in Olam Haba. And one of those people, Rabbi Kiva says, someone who reads Sfarim Chitzonim. So we'll say, so what are Sfarim Chitzonim? What are external Sfarim? So the Gemara says the following. Tana, B'Sifrei Tzedukim. We'll say this refers to the books, to the works of Tzedukim. Rashi says, Shekofrim Bekel Chai. Right? Ultimately, again, who are the Tzedukim? To read Sfarim, I will say, people who do not believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it's interesting, in Hagos Tziyunim, he actually changes this a little bit. He actually changes this. He changes it to Minim and Galochim, right? Non-believers and priests, which is interesting. But the idea is, you can't read the Sarah of people, ultimately, again, who do not believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we're going to see something very interesting that comes out from it. So both sides, we're going to go on a little bit, but I'll tell you what the point of the Gemara is saying is like this. What Rabbi Kiva was saying is, we understand that knowledge, I will say, is not just something that comes from the mind, but it comes from the heart, it comes from the neshama as well. And if the source is not pure, Rabbi Kiva says, you have to stay away from it. Because somehow, someway, even if the words look nice, or if the words look non-controversial, if the source is impure, there's impurity embedded in the words. This incredible Yisod said that inspiration and growth has to come from pure sources. If the source is tainted, then by definition, even if the words look great, the ideas look beautiful, and even if everything seems to actually fit within the hashkafa of a Jew, if the source is tainted, Rabbi Akiva says he can't have anything to do with it. To which this opens up an interesting conversation. Rav Yosef Amar b'Sefer ben Sira Nami Aslamikis. Well, Rav Yosef says, we've quoted a number of times throughout our journey in Shas, Sefer ben Sira. Who exactly Ben Sira was is shrouded in a bit of mystery. So some say he was a descendant of the Navi Yirmiyahu, and he wrote this Sefer. It was essentially, it was kind of like his own version of Mishlei. Just like in Mishlei, Shlomo Melech puts together all these proverbs, all these sayings, all these little pieces of wisdom. So this individual Ben Sira lives around times of the Beis Hamikdash. Again, some say he's a descendant of Yirmiyahu Hanavi. Ultimately put together this sefer filled with sayings. Now, as we're going to see, some of them are off the wall, but some of them very much echo that which Chazal said already. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yosef says you also can't learn Sefer Ben Sira. I'm going to buy my time. So Rabbi says, why not? Why? Because we'll say, remember the interesting part is the Gemara quotes Sefer Ben Sira, right? We've seen many times where the Gemara quotes the Sefer. So Rabbi Yosef says that falls under Sefer Chitzonim, you can't learn it. Abaye says, why not? Ilim mishum dichsibei lo sintosh gildana me'udnei dilo alezel mashche lechavla elo sali yasei benura ve'echel beitarti gritzi. So we'll say, now watch this. So Ben Sira says the following. Let's go back. Lo sintosh gildana me'udnei. We'll say, do not remove the skin from the fish. So Ben Sira says, don't remove the skin from the fish, even by the gills, because you'll end up wasting the skin. Rather, what should you do? Roast the fish whole, and eat it in between two cakes of bread. 2 cakes of bread. Rashi says over here, if you look at the end of that Rashi, Losif shot gelidna me'odne. So Rashi says over here, just go ahead. So what does Ben Sira seem to be saying? Is don't waste the part of the fish. Right, roast the fish whole, and again, even if you can't eat the fish with the skin by itself, you'll eat it in between two things of bread, and you'll be just fine. So if you say because of stuff like that, the truth is that's actually not an off-the-wall statement. We see that concept in the Torah. What does the Torah say? Lo sashchis es eitzah. Do not needlessly destroy trees. Also, we call that bal tashchis. So what Ben Sira seems to be saying is, don't be a wasteful person. If you go ahead, the skin is totally edible. Don't waste the skin, right? Roast the fish whole and just eat it in between 2 pieces of bread. Therefore, you capitalize on the entire fish. So if you say it's because of stuff like that, well, that seems to be just a straight lesson from the Torah of Baal Sashchis, to which the Gemara says, furthermore, some interpret Ben Sira's statement as Kamash Malon Delo Livo Shalo Kidarka. What Ben Sira was really saying was, don't engage in Bia Shalo Kidarka. Even though Bia Shalo Kidarka is mutter, one shouldn't do that. I say, how exactly do you get from eating the fish with the skin to Bia Shalo Kidarka? So the idea, we're not going to be too ma'ayin into this, but the idea is that Ben Sira is saying is don't depart from the natural order of things. The skin is there. The fish should be consumed in the normal way, which is with the skin. So too in other areas of life, do not depart from the natural order, the normal order of things as well. So ultimately, again, there's a bia kidarka. Even though bia shalo kidarka is mutter, don't depart from that norm. So maybe it's because that Sefer Ben Sira has statements like this. This is actually amazing. La'avia matmano shav. So we'll say, Ben Sira wrote the following. A daughter is a false treasure. What does it mean? A daughter is a false treasure. Because what it means is that a daughter with her birth makes her father very happy. And his father thinks that when he has a daughter, he's won the jackpot, he's won the lottery. But then all of that simcha turns to incredible worry. What happens? So that's a false treasure. Mipachta lo yoshin balayla. Once a daughter is born, a father never again has a good night's sleep. Why? I will say, listen to this. Pikatnusa shema tisbata. I will say, literally, when she's young, the father is supposed to say, literally means father's never shall be seduced. What that means is when she's young, the father is concerned she's going to be taken advantage of. Bina arusa shema tizna. As she gets older, the father is worried about promiscuity. Whereas when she's young, the father is worried about she's going to get taken advantage of. As she gets older, the father worries that she's going to make bad decisions. Bagra, as she gets older, shemalotinase. He's worried she's not going to get married. Nises, when she gets married, shemalo yolobanim. He's nervous that she's not going to have children. Hiskina, as she gets older, shematasek shavim. Ben Sira had me until this last one, right? As she gets older, he's worried she's going to become a witch, right? Meaning, apparently, again, older women resulted to kisha for a variety of different things. I will say this is incredible. So Ben Sira says, you have a daughter, say goodbye to sleep. Say goodbye to sleep, because and I will say, anyone who's a father of a daughter knows that this is maybe not for exactly the reasons that Ben Sira said, but when she's young, you're nervous about what's going to happen to her. As she gets older, you're worried about the decisions she's going to make. Will she get married? If she gets married, will she have children? All these different things. So Ben Sira says, you have a daughter, no more sleep. So Gemara says, 1 second, that's not a bad thing. What do I mean by that? Meaning, that statement is not a controversial statement. Chazal said that. The Rabbanon also said this. What did the Rabbanon say? The world needs boys and girls. Lucky is the man who has sons. Woe to the one who has gosibos. Everyone loves to jump on this and say, oh, Chazal are so misogynistic, this and that. So remember, if you do that, you're not bikoris. But number two, that's not what Chazal are saying. Right? What Chazal are saying is that if you have boys, you worry much less about boys. You're going to get into trouble. They're going to break stuff. They're going to do all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, you're confident in their ability to take care of themselves. Father has a daughter. A father is nervous about that vulnerability of a daughter. So therefore, again, the Gemara says the world needs both. The world needs both. But you get a lot more sleep with sons and a lot less sleep with girls. Rather, again, what's wrong with Ben Sira? Rather, because the pasuk also listen to this. Lo soil davya belibcha. The Gavri Kotel Davya. So we'll say, what does this mean? Take a look at Rashi. Rashi's Davya is Daiga. Lo soil Davya b'libech. We'll say, listen to this. Do not let worry overtake your heart. The Gavri Givrin Kotel Gavya. Because strong men have been killed, have died because of worry. So we'll say, so what Ben Sira seems to be saying is, be careful what you worry about and how much you worry about, because too much worry, too much concern, could literally kill you. Come on, 1 second. That's also not controversial. Shlomo Amra. Shlomo Melech already said that. Daiga b'lev ish yishachena. Right? Shlomo Melech already said Daiga b'lev ish yashchena. That ultimately, again, worry in the heart of man yashchena. What does yashchena mean? Rabbi Ami Rabbi Yasi Chad Amar Yishichena. midaito. One says it means that you should uproot it from your heart. V'chad amar yisichen al achirim. You should share it with others. In other words, don't carry your problems around by yourself. If there's something on your mind, something bothering you, share it with someone else. So therefore, again, that's not a controversial statement. And we shouldn't dichsiv man rab misoch beisecha v'lo hakol tavi al beisecha. Rather, Ben Sira said, do not let everyone into your home. V'lo hakol tavi al beisecha. Do not bring everyone home with you. Man rab misoch beisecha. Prevent the public from entering your home, and don't let everyone into your house. So we'll say, what does this mean? Rabbi Nami Amar. But Rabbi said the same thing this Sanya. Rabbi said, We'll say a person should not let everyone in his home. Shne'emar, Ishrayim lehisro'ea. Let's listen to this. Because the pasuk says in Mishlei, Ishrayim lehisro'ea, the more friends you have, the more potential you have for conflict. So we'll say there's this interesting dialectic. On one hand, my home has to be open for achnasas archim. On the other hand, it can't be a free-for-all, right? You can't have everyone there for a variety of different reasons. But more what seems to be what Ben Sira and what Shlomo HaMelech seem to be focusing on over here is this idea that you should even limit your friend pool a little bit. Because the more social interactions you have, the more the probability ultimately, again, for some type of conflict. So the Gemara says the following. Rather, Elam Yishum Dichsiv, Zaldikan Korteman, Avdikan Sachsichon. Rather, it's because Ben Sira wrote the following, that someone with a thin beard, right? So Korteman, Rashi says, Zaldikan, Mi Shazak Zakano Daka Vitalusha. Kalusha, will say someone with a thinner beard is exceptionally wise, and someone with a thicker beard, right? Misha Sakeno Ava, someone with a thicker beard is a fool. So we'll discuss exactly what this means. The nafach bekisei bekasya lo tzachi. Rashi says the nafcha bekasya also means somebody who blows the froth off his beard. Again, we're going to discuss what all of these things mean. So again, just to translate it again, zaldikan kortaman, someone with a thin beard is wise. Avdikan sachsachan, someone with a thick beard is a fool. The nafach bekasya lo tzachi, somebody who blows the froth off his beard is not really thirsty. Amar b'may echo lachma savmine. Someone who says, what should I put on my bread? Take the bread away from him because he's not really hungry. So we'll say, this is interesting, meaning somebody who blows the froth off his beard is not really thirsty, because if he was thirsty, then what? Just drink it. Someone who says, well, what should I have on my bread is not really hungry, because if he was hungry, then he would just eat the bread. Man de islay. This is amazing. Somebody who has literally a part in his beard, a part, right, in his beard, right? You'll never be able to overcome it. What is it? I was saying, somebody who has a part, this is so funny, like the imagery is amazing. Somebody who has a part in his beard is someone who's always scheming. He's always scheming, right? He's always trying to plot. Someone who's always scheming to the point that there's a part in his beard, that guy is good. That guy, I mean, if he's scheming so much, and Mamish is a part in his beard, you are not going to be able to overtake him. So the Gemara says, so Amar Rav Yosef, Mili Mal Yosef, so we'll say, so maybe it's because of things like this, because these seem to be nonsensical statements. What does this mean? Someone with a thinner beard is wise, someone with a thicker beard is foolish. Now, both like the Pashtus, what Ben Sira is probably trying to say, I would assume what he's probably trying to say, is at the end of the day, don't judge by appearances. Somebody can have a nice white long beard and they might look pious, but they might be foolish. Somebody might have a very thin younger beard and might be exceptionally wise. But at first glance, Ben Sira seems to be making kind of broad-based statements that don't seem to be based in anything. You know, the bread and the... So maybe it's because of statements like this that we say you should not learn Sefer Ben Sira. So Rav Yosef, you both say, comes to kind of reach like a middle position, which we'll say seems to be adopted by Chazal in general. Amar Rav Yosef, Milemal Yosef, the Isbei Darshin Lalu. The stuff in Sefer Ben Sira that makes sense, you should learn. The Gemara says, so by inference, you'll understand, and the stuff that is nonsensical, you should kind of just let go by the wayside. So, for example, what are the things that are good in Sefer Ben Sira? So we've already seen some of them, but listen to this. Isha tova matana tov b'chei kirei elokim tinas. It's actually a very beautiful idea. That a good wife is a great gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. B'chei kirei elokim tinas. And literally, in the chest of the Yirei Elokim, she is given. So the idea if a man is zocha to have a good wife, Rabosai, understand that that is a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Isha ra'ah, a bad wife, tzara'as labayla. She's like tzaras. Be careful how you use these gemaras. By the way, she's like tzaras. My takante. First my line. What should you do? Yigashena mi beiso v'yisrabe mitzaraso. So what do you do with the wife who's like tzaras? Get her out of the house and ultimately be healed from the tzaras. So the Gemara says, Isha yafa ashrei baila. We'll say if a man is privileged to have a beautiful wife, by the way, it's not a matter of midos. It's about her looks. If she's beautiful, ashrei baila, then praiseworthy is her husband. Mispar yamav kiflayim. We'll say that's actually such a beautiful Gemara. If a man is married to a beautiful woman, then ultimately again praiseworthy is her husband, because literally his days are doubled. What does it mean his days are doubled? Rashi will say on the left-hand side, in the shorter lines, about 6 lines, it says kiflayim, neirov hanach Hashem kiflayim. Because he gets so much pleasure from her. Because he gets so much pleasure from her beauty, it's as if his life is doubled. Meaning he gets so much hana from her, it's as if he has 2 lifespans. Shield your eyes from a beautiful woman, lest you get ensnared in her trap. So we'll say what ultimately again Ben Sira is saying over here is be careful. It's very easy to get caught up in all the wrong things. And sometimes again, just looking at things that I should not be looking at is the beginning ultimately again of a downward spiral life. So be careful not to cast your eyes on a beautiful woman who is not your wife. Who is not your wife, lest you get caught up in things you don't want to get caught up in. Al tait itza baila limsoch imo yain v'sheichar ki b'toar isha yafa rabim hushchusu. Do not, if there's a beautiful woman, do not get involved in drinking with her husband. Ki b'toar isha yafa rabim hushchusu, because many have been destroyed through the countenance of a beautiful woman. The idea, Bosai, is that if you end up drinking heavily with the husband of this wife, of the husband of this beautiful woman, he could chas v'shalom lead to some type of immorality. V'atzumim kol harugal. So we'll say ultimately again, v'atzumim kol harugal, and even great ones have died as a result of these types of discretions. Rabim hayu pitzei rochel. So we'll say that these are other examples of Ben Sira. So Rabim hayu pitzei rochel, the peddler, right? So we'll say the rochel is the guy that goes door to door, selling stuff. So what happens? The peddler often gets beaten up. I will say, why does the peddler get beaten up? Because sometimes the peddler often goes to people's homes. So sometimes a man comes home and finds another man in the house with his wife, and he suspects the worst. Now, meanwhile, the poor guy is just there, what? He's selling her whatever, but often he gets a good, good beating from the husband, because the husband thinks he's up to no good. I will say those who get involved in erva, those who get involved ultimately again immorality, it's like a kinitzutz mavriyachas. What's a very profound idea? A little bit of morality, a little bit of immorality could create raging fires of averas. Sometimes I will say even the smallest spark of immorality, mavir gacheles, is enough to ignite the coal and get me into all kinds of trouble. Kikluv maleof ben basem aleim mirmo. Mone rabim misof beisafa. So what we saw before? Kikluv malach means it's like a chicken coop, meaning it's like a coop full of birds that ultimately, again, once you go ahead and you make one kind of small opening, they're all ready to fly out. One little spark of immorality has the ability to ignite a great fire. We'll say one more line and then we'll stop. Prevent the public from coming into your home. Don't bring everyone into your home. This idea is that a person has to be careful about who they allow into their home, what influences they allow into their home. I will say, listen to this. Rabim yu darshe shlomecha. I will say you should have a lot of people who like you, right? A lot of people like you. Rashi says, Rabim yu darshe shlomecha. Rashi says, shetein b'sayivim akol v'afal pi came. So we'll say you should have a lot of people who love you. Gali sodcha le'echad me'elef, but only reveal your secret to 1 in 1,000 people. In other words, have a lot of people who like you. Trust none of them. Trust none of them. Meaning love them, and they should love you, but do not reveal your secrets. You could have 1 out of 1,000 people who you believe you could reveal your secrets to. And sometimes to even her who sleeps by your chest, you should watch your mouth. Which I will say means sometimes a man has to be vigilant with even what he reveals to his wife. Now, both say, now what does this mean? What does this mean? And ultimately, again, that a husband shouldn't share his secrets with his wife. I don't think that's what it's saying. I think what the Ben Sira is saying over here is something different. And I was saying, it's like a convention. Sometimes people think that the sort of shalom bayis is like you share everything with your wife, right? A good marriage is where you share everything. So I think a person. I'm not a mental health professional. I don't even know if I'm good at marriage. I'm not sure, but I just say what I think is the yesod. You don't share everything with your wife. What does that mean? Something bad happens to you. You have a bad day. You have a bad day. Something goes wrong. So conventional wisdom is you should come home and you should talk about it. You should share it with your wife. So I say, understand, if something happened to you, something's wrong, and you're upset, and there's nothing that you could do about it, and nothing that your wife could do about it, and you just want to offload. So I say, understand, that's exceptionally selfish. Because then what I'm doing is I have a desire to offload this onto. You ever see this? Like people say, "Oh, I feel so much better. I feel so much better." That's great. You feel so much better, and now because you know why you feel better? Because you just transferred it onto me. So I'm happy. I'm happy you feel better. Now I'm stooping even further. So a person has to know, in a loving marriage, a wife feels the pain of her husband like her own. To tell my wife something because she could help me with it, because she can give me eitzah, because she could give me good ideas is wonderful. But to share it just for the sake of transferring that all to her, so that now I feel better. Let's go out, right? I feel better. We'll say that's selfish. That's selfish. So should a husband and wife always have clear channels of communication? Absolutely. But to just unload for the sake of unloading and making yourself feel better and transferring that all to my wife, ultimately, again, that could be exceptionally selfish. So Ben Sira is saying again, not that you shouldn't share your secrets with your wife. But again, even with she who is closest to you, be careful with what you share with her. If it's for the purpose of help, if it's for the purpose of eitzah, then by all means. But if it's for the purpose of just giving her the all so you feel a little bit better, then perhaps it's better not to do so. So I'll stop over here. We'll pick up on the tomorrow.